different, but they certainly can also inspire themselves from previous processes of industrial transition. For instance, if we look at the region of Bilbao, Bilbao was a region in significant decline and facing a huge challenge of reinventing itself around 25 years ago. And it managed to do so. And Bilbao is also a place which likes to share its success and to say how it managed. So certainly we have very shining examples in Europe today.
So here at the European Week of Regions and Cities, did you get to speak with some people who asked you questions about how they could do it? Did you get to share your ideas?
Well, the week is still long, so that is one of my aims, certainly, for the next few days. And I think that, this is a moment when it is not the Commission that knows best. We are offering a place for people to interact, and other people than the Commission have certainly much more interesting things to share because they are on the ground, they experience it firsthand than us. Of course, we are well placed to explain the proposals we have made for the future and the philosophy which is underpinning those proposals, and which I think really fit the kinds of challenges we have been talking about. When we put innovation at the center of cohesion policy for the future, smart specialization strategies, well, we believe that this is a generalization of what we have been talking about for coal regions. They need to think about what their strengths are today, how they can put them to good use, and how they can innovate on that basis.
Could you please explain what those awards are about?
It is, as you suggested, already the third edition. We will have altogether 4 calls, so there is one more to come in a good year's time. And this, money-wise, will be the biggest of them all, with close to 100 million euros.
And before?
It was a bit less. We started with 50 or 60 million and then moving up progressively as we gained experience. The aim here is to allow for cities, they can be of different sizes, to propose to us some innovative approaches they would like to test. And what we offer for that is grants up to 5 million euros, which they have at their disposal in order to implement their projects in no more than 3 years. So it cannot be, very long-term projects either, but they have significant time in order to test very concretely their ideas. And very concretely, we, for each call, propose a certain number of themes. For this third call, we have selected altogether 4 themes. The first is adaptation to climate change. The second one is air quality, so air pollution and what to do about it in cities. The third one is housing. And the fourth one is jobs and skills in the local economy. This last one we already had before, but it had such a success that we are taking it on again.
And why did you choose those themes?
Well, those themes are very relevant at the city's level. I don't think I have to explain why air quality is an issue for cities, and nearly exclusively for cities. Why housing is a particularly acute problem in cities as well, with all its social integration dimension, etc. So we are, in fact, driven by also what the market is looking at. And we had, for instance, last time round, the theme of the integration of migrants, which again is a challenge which is rather specific to cities, because most asylum seekers arrive in cities and not in the countryside.
And what does it take to win?
What it takes to win is to really have a convincing concept. And what I mean by convincing, as we are talking about European money, is first that it is realistic given the support we can offer, as I said, up to 5 million euros, and given also the timeline we're talking about, a maximum of 3 years. Secondly, it is a type of project which we have to see as having the potential to be replicated elsewhere, so that it can find a use somewhere else in Europe. This is about a learning process, about basically having cities being labs and see what can function in terms of new approaches. So these are the main criteria. And the last one, which I would also want to mention, is that these projects should really involve the local communities. So not just be, imagined in a town hall, but really be designed and implemented together with local communities.
And once a project has won, do they try to replicate it somewhere else?
Well, we are getting closer to that moment of truth, I would say. The first call we launched in 2016. So there is still 1 year to go for those projects, those first projects which had been selected. But we are quite excited and quite hopeful that certain projects indeed will prove very useful as models for others. I would want to mention one, and it's about the city of Vienna, which has, as you know, in 2014, 2015, faced a major wave of asylum seekers, and it has designed, with our support, a general support structure for the immediate needs of asylum seekers, for giving them orientation, for social services, other types of services. And this structure has been designed together with people who had gone through the asylum procedure and who knew exactly, what were the immediate needs of those asylum seekers. And this is, we think, the kind of approach, again, very inclusive, and making use of the knowledge of the people who have the right kind of experience, which ultimately we are quite confident will be useful for the whole of Europe.
And what are some of the other challenges that urban areas are facing today?
I think that through the examples already cited, we have quite a few. Definitely social inclusion. And the housing dimension there is very fundamental. But beyond that, also, city planning, how you plan the neighborhoods, how you plan the local services, how you plan the schooling system, urban mobility, and so on. Security, the security dimension is also very important, and we intend in our fourth and last call to also have that theme, the theme of security. So it's security of public spaces. We have unfortunately faced terror attacks which were always in cities. And so securing public spaces as much as we can is definitely an important consideration. But beyond that, there is also the very daily security of citizens. So this is certainly also one particular challenge they have. I would repeat air quality, definitely. Mobility, in general, which is also linked to air quality, so sustainable mobility, and yes, integration of non-locals.
And do you already, or can you tell us what will be the categories next year?
Well, I mentioned one.
Housing will come back.
No, not housing. Security in cities. The other ones will come in due time.
Thank you very much. So that's it for today, but don't forget, we'll be live tomorrow at 12:30.
Sweet.